Welcome, Real Estate Hustlers podcast. I'm your host, Josh Appelman. Today we are joined with Dusten Hendrickson, the real estate developer and investor with 20 plus years of experience creating high impact communities through innovative design, strategic development, and faith driven leadership. Dusten, we appreciate you coming on the show today. If you could let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself.
Hey, thanks, Josh. I am based in South Dakota, and I've been developing real estate since 2003, so 23 years. And I love efficient design, and I prefer building for residential tenants that rent over anything else. So I've done it all: commercial, industrial, residential, home building, starter homes, flips, value adds, and I like to develop brand new apartments the best.
That's phenomenal, and I'm excited to get to the meat and bones of this because no one typically starts out just developing 100 plus unit apartment communities on their own. So if you could take us all the way back to the beginning, how you got into real estate, what made you get into real estate, and then of course with real estate you have to grow your head with the business, meaning that you don't want to bite off more than what you can chew. So tell us about the educational journey that you went on too.
Oh, yeah, lots of education, and education is expensive, as we all know. My mom actually got me into real estate because she wanted to buy a duplex, but this was in 2003 and they were too expensive. So we ended up building them instead. And we were able to create our own down payment by doing the development work and keeping the GC and the development fees inside the project. And so we started with a duplex, worked out really well. We built another one, started building homes, and slowly just kept doing more and more different construction, learning lots of things with each iteration. Found syndication in 2017 because I had hit kind of a growth. I was at the top of my growth. I couldn't understand how people could build such big apartments unless they were really wealthy. And so I found syndication and then realized, okay, you got to pool people's money together and pool people's talents and resources together. And so learned how to do that. And that's when we really took off. I learned how to buy 100-unit buildings first. And then I realized the stuff I build is a lot better than the stuff I can buy.
Yeah.
And so I should just apply the syndication process to the development world. And then that's what we did.
Well, we're running into the same exact thing right now where we've got 1970s, 60s, 70s vintage wanting to trade at 80 plus thousand per door. And it's getting closer and closer, and that's unrenovated, closer and closer to where you can bring in new construction. Not quite, I'm sure. I mean, we're tens of thousands off, but at the end of your new construction build, you've got a brand new unit. 20 years from now, it's 20 years old, not 100 years old.
Yeah.
So I totally get why you shifted there. But getting back, you started building duplexes, and then you went into syndication. But you're building homes and all the things. What made you want to get into to building the bigger stuff? Was it just that's the journey, or?
Yeah, I just think growth, right? So what happened was I built a 30 unit, but I used all of my cash to build that 30 unit. And then I wanted to build another one. Well, how do I build another one if I don't have any cash?
Yeah.
And then I realized actually, once I learned syndication, actually 150 units is really where you want to be. So how do you build to that 150 unit cycle? And that's where the efficiencies start at, right? A 150 or a 200 unit building is pretty much just as efficient. So we figured out how to get there. And once you get there, it's hard to go backwards. It's hard to do a 50 unit when you can do a 150 unit.
But you were building it on your own, all of your own cash, and you had a 100% ownership, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would bring in one partner maybe. So
Okay.
50 to 100%, somewhere in there. Yep.
Got it. And then the banks, they'll let you use, if you've got the land and you're getting entitlements, all the costs that it goes into getting the project ready, that also goes towards your down payment in commercial?
Yep, correct.
Okay. What are some other creative ways that you've found to get to the closing table?
Development fee can go in there. The general contractor can sometimes bring the GC fee in. We can get TIFs. You can borrow against a TIF. So right now we've got a project where we're going to get $1.1 million in pre-funded financing on a TIF. That'll go right in as part of our down payment. So we needed $5 million and now we'll need $4 million. So we always close on the land too. We close on the land get it approved and entitled. Now it's worth a little more. That equity goes into the deal as well.
So the
So
bank sees that as sweat equity, and then that enables you to get more money from the bank?
yeah, but not always. Sometimes you still have to bring the cash in, and then at the end of the project, you can use it as equity. You can negotiate though with some banks. If you have a good reputation, you can negotiate with some banks, and they'll let you use some of that stuff as equity.
What have been some of the learning lessons, the challenges along the way, the things you wish you knew, but now you know?
Uh, well, quite a bit. The first thing is write things down. When I first started, I didn't really write things down. So I think having a board where you write things down and everyone gets to look at it. So everyone on your team has the same direction and mindset. You know, we always think that everyone knows what we're doing, and the reality is most people have no idea. So write everything down and it's easier to get there. It keeps you grounded too, um, and focused. The other thing is scale. I thought that growth and scale were the same thing. And so I was just doing anything. I was doing restaurants, retail, starter neighborhood homes, like neighborhoods of starter homes, custom homes, fix and flips, buy a 10-plex, buy a 30-plex, build them. And so I realized real quickly that that is not scaling. And so understand the difference between just growth and what scale really is.
Are
And
you
then
saying that that was noise that was getting in your way of actually scaling?
it was switch tasking. So I was thinking just adding another project was growth. But then I would switch task from building out a restaurant, a commercial build out restaurant, to a starter home, to a duplex that I owned. So I was buying and selling, and I was buying and keeping, and I was building and keeping and building and selling. And I would work for customers and I'd work for tenants, and I just did way too many things. And I was constantly switch tasking, and there was no scalability to it. And then once I learned, okay, go deep into a niche and then do that thing over and over and over and try to double whatever you did from the last time. So if you're doing a duplex, well, then the next project should be either two duplexes or a fourplex at the same time, or maybe a 10-plex. And then you learn your lessons there, because you don't want to go to a 100 unit and learn lessons because it'll bankrupt you. You don't want to go to 2 units to 100 units. That'll probably bankrupt you,
Yeah.
those lessons. And so then you do 100 units. Well, what are you going to do? You might not be able to double it and do 200 units, but that 100 units maybe took you 6 months. Well, try to do one in 3 months and then another one in 3 months. And then now you're doing 100 units every month, and now you're doing 100 units every week, and now you're doing 100 units every day. Like that kind of scale where you go deep into your niche and you're doing the same thing over and over, but you're just building bigger and bigger and bigger, or more and more and more.
Yeah. Are you all vertically integrated?
Yeah, we're vertically integrated from the land acquisition all the way through the asset disposition. We do not do our own asset management or our own property management, though. We have found that we can hire much better property managers than we can be. So with our product is so good, we can hire the best property manager, and then we can come in and asset manage them and train them how we want them to be trained. A lot of people say they have trouble finding property managers, but we would have trouble creating a property management team as good as the one we hire.
Yeah. I think it's holding on to the teddy bear too. Just want to have total control over everything, every process, but it also inhibits your scalability. If you're scaling, you need to bring in good team members, good partners that can handle those things.
Yeah. But I treat our property management as if they're a partner. And eventually we will either buy into that property management group or they will partner with us on these deals.
The partner, okay, so they've got an equity piece in the deal, so they want that NOI to be as strong as possible.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's smart. That makes sense. Um, Tell us some more learning lessons, because development has so many different, I'm going to say traps and pitfalls and ways that you can totally go belly up really quick, because it is capital intensive on the onset with no cash flow.
Yeah. So most of your lessons, or most of your unseen costs are in the ground, meaning you got to dig into the ground before you see them. So we build the same product over and over and over, and there's almost no, well, there is no change orders. The only change orders that come through are if the government releases a new code halfway through the build, or uh, if let's see, what else is there? There's really no change orders because we build the same thing over and over. The change orders happen in the ground. Like we had to dig up soils. The soils were bad, so we had to add extra, or we had to put pilings in the ground, or the utility company can't bring the power over that way and they need an easement somewhere else. Things like that might come up. It's almost always underground. So that's where most of your changes lie. Um, do not build for sex appeal. Like sexy buildings don't really make that much money. So skyscrapers, people build skyscrapers for their ego. If you look at skyscraper transactions, they very rarely make money. And so build what the community needs and wants, and most of the time it's the less expensive stuff that has none of the bells and whistles. So all the expensive stuff requires lots of maintenance and requires a certain level of upkeep that's very expensive. So if you start eliminating amenities like a pool or a hot tub requires a lot of upkeep, and if it's not crystal clear water, people will give you bad reviews. So if you're not don't have the money to maintain that thing to the utmost highest quality, you're better off not having it. And so that's what we've learned is that maintenance intensive properties, you almost need a hospitality management degree, and they're not that, you can't put them in many places. Just think how many places you can put a Four Seasons. It's not that many. There's not many Four Seasons areas that will support Four Seasons. But workforce housing, like in the background, this will literally go in any community that has growth. And so we can go into every single community with this style of housing, which is very, very light on maintenance, very efficient. Everything about it's efficient. It's easy to lease, easy to maintain, easy to operate, easy to build. All of our subs know exactly what they're building. There's no surprises ever. And so eliminating all your surprises and all your ongoing maintenance needs is one of the easiest ways to avoid overages on your budget and your construction budget and your operating budget.
How do you all come up with the unit mix that's needed?
We've just developed it over years. So we've been doing this for 5 years. And most developers build 1 and 2 bedrooms. We build studios through 3 bedrooms. There's only a couple studios and there's only 1 3-bedroom. But we find that unit mix is really good. And then we're heavier on 1 bedrooms because there's so many 2 bedrooms in the market from years past that we can always seem to rent more 1 bedrooms.
See, I always thought the 2 bedrooms are attractive because people can 2-up, meaning 2 families in 1 unit, and split the rent. Versus your 1 bedroom, you've got more transient. You got your 12-month leases typically turn. At least that's what we see. 2 bedrooms
Yep.
are more stickier.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really, I mean, I don't know, maybe we have about 50% turnover. We feel that we can move rents the quickest at about 50%, and then we have enough stabilization there. That's what we shoot for. We feel like that's about, in this area, that's about what we get for our highest rents. Sometimes 2 bedrooms are better, sometimes 1s are better. I mean, we could go into a different neighborhood and it changes. So this model seems to work the best, and we're 98% occupied almost all the time. It's very rare to be under 95% in this model.
How many units is that property behind you?
This is 100 units.
100 units. That's
Yep.
almost a perfect unit count. Not too big, and obviously not too small. It's institutional level. 100, anything over 100 units.
Yeah. Well, so right here in this piece of ground next door, you can see this equipment behind me. This is our phase 2 and 3 is going on. We just closed on that. It's a HUD development, actually. That'll add another 250 units to this property, so it'll be 350.
Damn, that's massive. Tell us about the capital stack on that one.
So this is phased. We bought the land about 2 years ago, and we sort of developed it. We partnered with the land developer to develop it. We started this project about a year and 2 months ago, year and 3 months ago. This is 35% equity, 70% or 65% debt. It's just a local lender. I believe these terms are 6.5%. 6.5% roughly. We kind of get the same terms on everything. 0.5 point origination fee, 2.5 years IO, 2.5 years of stabilization after that. So a 5-year term. And then it's like a 5-3-1-1-1. We negotiate the prepayment penalty into the lower in the later years because with the construction, we're not going to be able to buy out of this for at least 2 years. We like to refinance at about the 3-year mark and go into agency debt.
So the next 250 units, you said that's a HUD development. So that's their capital stack is different.
Yeah, not much though. It's very similar, except for it's just HUD debt. We had to put more reserves into it. We can actually start paying distributions right away on this because there's so much reserves going into it. And so it's a 40-year note.
Nice.
It's a 5.75 AM on that one. So it's or a 5.75% 40-year AM. So it's a really long-term note.
Those take 9, 10, 11 months to close.
Yep, at least. I think we've been working on that for 12 months.
Nice. But it's falling right in place because you just got done with your 100 units and now that one's kicking off. So you had time and times in your sale.
Yep.
So what's on the horizon? How big are you wanting to grow? And I'm assuming you're holding everything, or are you buying it to sell it?
We'll sell, but we're holding right now in this era. Some of our investors want to sell. I want to hold. I want to hold everything forever just because that's what I am. I'm a long-term guy, but we've got the goal is to have a project, a 100-unit project start every day. I don't know how long that's going to take, but that's the long-term goal. Right now, we're at about a month, each month, one a month.
They say that there's a housing shortage, but I think there's, and a lot of people can echo this, that there's an affordability shortage, not necessarily a housing shortage. What are your thoughts?
I agree 100% with that. Absolutely.
So the projects that you're developing, I'm assuming you've got a Section 8 voucher, or you're accepting Section 8, or are they market rate?
They're all market rate. Yeah, we're able to both build affordable and market rate.
Is that a part of getting the project approved by the city, is having the mixture, the tenant-based mixture?
Yeah, it's much easier to do what we do.
Dustin, I think I'm losing you. Dustin, you still with us? Dustin, I think we lost you. All right. Well, and that's a part of going live, folks. So again, we had Dusten Hendrickson here. He was out on his newly developed 100-unit apartment community to get ready to build his next 250 units. So we'll try to get a take 2 of this podcast, get it back live. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.